before I get this episode rolling, I just wanted to share how this was really fun for me. You're going to see at the end of this episode where Barbara picks up something off of my energy and she shares some information. And you will notice in the video that I'm not too sure what yet, and that I have an idea of what she's talking about, and that I would check over the next few days to see if something comes up, and something did. So I just wanted to put this at the front of the episode to let you know that you want to make sure you stick to the end to hear what Barbara picks up off of me. My reaction to it, because I really wasn't expecting it. This wasn't planned. And then at the end, I will share the golden nugget of what actually happened and who she was actually talking about. So you really don't want to miss this. We're gonna get right to it. All right. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Talk to Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle C. Baker. And before we get started, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to whichever channel you're listening or watching from. And of course, this is season 4. So, I do invite you to have a look at the previous 3 seasons. There may be some topics there that resonate with your reality today. They are timeless. So, I do invite you to have a look. And I'm really excited. We're going to jump right in. I know I say that all the time, but I'm really excited about this one because this is completely different from what you're used to seeing, but I do like to bring in all sorts of different topics that can support families in what they're at. And I have the wonderful Barbra Banner with me today. We're going to be talking about mediumship and how we can kind of welcome that in to help us. If I'm not mistaken, Barbara, you do work with grieving families mostly, or do
I
you do?
have, and trauma and
Yeah.
all things to
And
help
and we
people.
all know that those are very difficult things to navigate. So sometimes that extra support does really come in and is appreciated by the family. So I'm going to let Barbara introduce herself. I'm going to put the spotlight on you. And I'm really excited to have you on. Thank you, first of all, for coming on. But also, can you talk to us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today?
Oh boy, yeah, that's a lot of stuff happened. Um, for 35 years, I was in advertising and marketing. Okay, loved it,
Wow.
wonderful. And then I feel like I sort of aged out because they didn't call me a copywriter anymore. They called me a content creator. I said, it's
Yeah.
time for me to go, okay? If I can't even be what I was. So I didn't I didn't grow up like seeing spirits or anything like that. When I was 13, I did say to my friends, I think I'm a witch. I didn't even know what to call it. I just felt like a little different, or really good at guessing things. And it wasn't until the pandemic that I hadn't even meditated before, that all hell broke loose in my house. I mean, there were orbs on videos I was doing for an audition tape. Things were flying off the shelves in 2 rooms simultaneously. The ceiling fans and the lights were flashing together, exactly the same. And in one of the ceiling fans, there was no light bulb. Okay, I had taken it out to put in another.
Oh,
So, what can I tell you? I really felt spirit is calling me, and I better answer because if they can do all that, I don't even want to know. So,
yeah.
I did what any normal person would do. I looked up to find a really good mediumship class so I could talk to them and see what was going on. I had a feeling it was my dad. Okay. But before all this, for the 30 years before this, I always wanted to do volunteer work where I could roll up my sleeves, not just write a check. So for 14 years, I was on a woman's crisis hotline. And then for another like 14 years, I've been at Cedar's emergency room as a volunteer. And then for about 6 years, I was on the city's crisis response team, where if there was a deceased body on the scene and the police were there and the coroner and the family showed up, they would get a team, me and somebody else, or, we would go out in twos. To take care of the family because the police are, they're measuring and taking pictures. They don't have the time. So
Yeah.
they brought They brought us in. It was a great service. And we were there on somebody's worst day of their life when their family member was right there.
Yeah, that is horrifying. So when you were talking earlier about trauma and grieving families, you were right there.
I was
What I say in the trenches, you were really in there knowing what families needed, and
I
it's
had
so
so much training to get into to do, everything I did. There was like, 3 months of training here, 3 months. It was a lot of so that I couldn't like screw anybody up and say the wrong thing. So I learned about everything from how to treat somebody who's got a family member that's suicided or if they were run over or whatever it was. So it was invaluable in my own life
you're
just to
right.
have that kind of information.
Yeah, and it's so important to, so yes, for those who work, they can understand what that's like in that field. And the families do appreciate it because, like you said, everybody else has their own, they have things they need to get done. And so the family kind of gets pushed to the side, and they're probably the only one that are just staring at the
Terrified and
body,
scared
right?
and
Yeah,
grieving and the best thing that I found that we could do is just be there and listen to
yeah,
them
yeah,
talk about their kid or whoever it was and
yeah.
try to
Uh,
process what was going on.
yeah. It's not easy. I'm just before we go into all of the way that you work with families, I think I'd like to start off by saying for those who are not still don't quite understand what
What
mediumship
a medium.
is, or
Okay.
that fear that's kind of lingering behind that. Oh, you mentioned the witch earlier. Some people would see that as the dark side of
Well, when
spirit,
I
but
was
it's
13, we didn't know what to call it. I mean, I didn't know what a
exactly.
medium was. It was just somebody who had a little juju.
Yes, exactly. And that's what a lot of people associate it with. But there is quite, when you have that connection with spirit, there's quite a lot good that you could do. So
That's
can you
all we try to do is good. I'm
oh,
not in the back of a shack and, praying to Satan. We're here to help. We're here to help people process grief and move on with their lives and just keep the best of their loved ones with them at all times.
and that's why I like to address that too, because there's that stigma, and it really isn't. And if you're talking about energy, what you put out there is what you get back. So a lot of the people that I've worked with who had that connection didn't even want to think about the darker the darker stories we hear about because that comes back to you afterwards. So can you walk us through a little bit, maybe not in full detail, but when families come to you, what do you usually go through? What's your framework? What's your procedure
Well,
in terms of
it's
helping?
not just families. I mean, I do a lot of one-on-one right now. I
Okay.
like to really make it a customized one-on-one. So somebody will come to me, let's say they've lost a child. Okay, the people who lose children are the ones that really just get me the most. They'll come to me and they'll a lot of people if they just lose somebody, they've never been to a medium before. They've heard about psychics. You can go and find out, if your boyfriend's cheating or, anything like that. But they just want to know that their loved one is okay on the
Yeah.
other side. And if they're at peace and should she feel guilty that she couldn't, stop him from taking drugs or I mean, there's just so much that goes on, especially when a child and a child could be 40 years old. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
as long as it's your child. Um, so I connect with their loved one and their loved one gives me information. First, I tell them what they look like, so we can just start there. Then their essence, and then they'll say, "Oh, that's him.
Hmm.
That's him." Um, and I can hear them, I can see them, I can feel them, I can mimic movements they give me. I always say, "Look, if I bust into the twerk, don't call 911. It has nothing to do with that." Okay. Um, so, and I also try to bring humor in. And I know that sounds like who wants to, why would you do that in such a solemn humor and laughter have some of the highest frequencies and vibrations. And that's what you need to connect with spirit. Uh, your loved one lowers their vibration because they're at a much higher vibration. It's almost like tuning in to a radio, okay? You got to just get it right there, or it's going to be it's going to be a
Yeah.
little staticky and it's that's what we have to do. We raise ours, they lower theirs, we meet in the middle and we have a talk.
Right.
Um, so I get information and I pass it on to the client.
Hmm.
And what we want to accomplish, if they already don't, is to let them know that their loved one, their son, is not gone. He just went a little ahead of you. We're
Right.
all going to meet up for parties. Whenever anyone comes, it's a party, okay? It's a reunion like you've never imagined. So, and it's only their physical body that is no
Mhm.
longer here. Their sense of humor, their wittiness, their goofiness, their intelligence, their all of their essence remains. Okay. Now, the way because once you're there, you're not this person that you were in the last life because we play roles with other people in our soul pod family so that they can learn something and that you can help them. And we all are just trying to grow and learn lessons in this earth in this lifetime. So, and we get many chances to do that. So, um, if he was mean, he may come out and say, well, this man was like, he just like took everything off the desk. Okay. It looks like he's really mad about something. Well, that's not how he feels on the other side. They only have three emotions: love, gratitude, and joy. That's it.
Mm.
They have no jealousy. They have no judgment. Everyone is there for the same reason, to just grow and evolve as a soul. So,
Right.
um, and by the information they give me, the parent will know that that's him.
Right.
And it can be anything from I had there was a little boy that passed, and his grandmother had come to me. And I
Mm.
said, what's with this light blue plaid flannel shirt? Okay. It's like why is he's wearing it everywhere? And I'm getting goosebumps when I talk about one of the spirits that I've already worked with. They like come and give me a little jolt. Um, and I said, what's so special about that shirt? She said, he never wanted to take it off. It was his favorite thing, and we buried him in it.
Oh, oh, I
So
got goosebumps. Oh, wow.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, wow.
It's those kind of things that make you realize he's still here.
Yeah.
You know what? His mind and consciousness is still here. And they hear us. You don't even have to speak it out loud. Um, they know what we're thinking. Um, and spirit, he's not six on the other side.
Mm.
We just keep growing. I want to give you an example of Okay, it's always when you want something that it's just the last picture. Okay, so this one of the women who had a 6-year-old son who passed of cancer. I give them a chance. I give clients a chance to do a little Q&A. Okay. And
Mhm.
for the first question, I say, you know what? I don't even want to know what the question is. I'm just going to give you what he gives me as the answer because I don't want my head to get involved, my
Mhm.
conscious mind. I just want it to be a funnel for that. So she said, okay, I've asked him, in my head. And I said, okay, he's showing me that he's on the back of a giant butterfly in heaven, just zooming, having the best time in the world. Okay. And she starts to cry. I said, did that answer the question? She goes, oh, yes. She said, um, after he passed, I had to figure out how to tell his younger sister, who was like 4, about
Mhm.
death. And and what he's doing and everything, to try to make her understand it. And so she said, I bought a book and it talked all about it in children's terms. And there was a page in it that said a brother or somebody could be riding on the back of a butterfly in heaven. She sent me the
Oh,
picture of the book. Do you know how healing that can be for a parent?
yes.
To know that their son put that question in their head and
Yes.
that he was there and he was there when you read the book to his sister and he was guiding us. He was making this all happen.
Wow.
How could
And
I know that? I mean, it's like you can't make this stuff up. And
exactly.
we don't like being tested. We're like, well, what was he wearing, 2 weeks ago on Thursday? Like, we're not like trained monkeys and we're not looking for applause. We're trying to help people heal.
That's it.
So, humor is one of the greatest vibration lifters because
Mm,
it's very difficult for your loved one to come through when someone is in grief because everything is so down. It's like, trying to walk through wet cement and slug through it. And they say, I am not getting any signs. I have no idea if you know what I mean. And it's
yeah.
like, it's circuitous. It's a double-edged sword. So sometimes humor can just interfere with the grief process in a way that it raises your serotonin and it just it makes everything a little lighter. It
Yeah.
can't it can't erase it. But for those few moments that you are in this vibration, things are going to settle down a little.
Yeah.
Grief, you have these waves of that you just can't take it. So it's really good. And that is what our loved ones want from us. All they want, sometimes they stick around a little, but they're always around us or with us and hear us
Yeah.
and everything. But what they want is for their mother to learn to laugh again and to have gratitude that they even got those 6 years together. And we don't know. Everything is already pre-planned, and we can't imagine why would God take a
Yeah.
6-year-old child from us.
Yeah.
And there is always a reason, and we don't learn that reason until we get over there.
And that's the thing too. And it's so reassuring to hear what you're how you're describing it because it's a beautiful moment in within that grief and that uh,
Right, to
probably
just
that guilt that you may feel or all that questioning to hear that and it's coming like you said there's no way you could know there's no way you could pull that information out of somebody without them knowing but to be able to get to that level that frequency where you can have that communication is such a beautiful thing.
and the more wonderful things there's a lot of skeptical people.
Of course. Yeah.
And that makes it more difficult, even if it's a really good reading and you've given a whole bunch of things that she understood and how her mental health issues were and whatever was going on that caused her passing. And a lot of times they show me what happened, and so they
Yeah.
understand that their child is here. So this mother said, all right, it was like coming to the end. She goes, I need a gold nugget. And that means like what I just told you, that
But yes.
that it was absolutely, an oh my God moment. And so she says, I said, okay, ask a question. And I just felt it was like, what am I? I said, look, your daughter's on the other side, and she's like jumping rope and she's like hopscotch.
Mhm.
And the mother's going, that's that's so broad. I mean, why wouldn't you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I said, and I said, and she's playing jacks. I said, uh, listen, I can only tell you what she's giving me, and all she's giving me is things that are normal for a girl to do. And the woman, I just got chills too. The woman
Mm.
said, that's the gold nugget. She said, my daughter was handicapped, couldn't talk, and was very limited. And the daughter had told her, Mom, all I want to do is be normal.
Oh my goodness.
So, this woman's looking for, she had a ingrown toenail on that, and then she had a missing tooth. That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
Spirit knows what we need to hear when we do. They aren't always going to tell you what you want to know. They're going to tell you what you need to hear.
Hmm.
So, and our job is just trust what they say, even if it doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
That's not, we're just the vessel.
That's it. It's not for you to make sense of it. You're just passing
No,
along the
I just
information.
pass it along and sometimes I have to help them. Or I had a woman who was the most skeptical ever, and I had to cut it short because it was impossible for me to go on with that. Um,
Hmm.
and I got in touch with her 2 days later. I said, look, your husband was here last night because I know I had him there. I mean, but she was saying, well, what were we wearing 2 days before he passed? And I said, I don't know. That's not what we're here for. Anyway, the husband came to me and showed me a half a bagel cut, toasted, scooped out. You know how women scoop things out and say 4 calories and then fill it up with cream cheese? Okay, one of those things. And I said that to her. I said, does that mean anything to you? She goes, absolutely not. Why are you even telling me this? She was nasty. Um, and I said, okay, just remember I said that. By the end of the week, she got in touch with me and said, you're not going to believe this. She said, I went to my father-in-law, the husband's father, and he said, I invented a product and I've got a prototype and I'll see if you know what it is. And she said, he showed me some contraption. I said, I don't know what that is. He said, it's a bagel scooper.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I got chills.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
She said they were screaming in laughter and joy. And they realized, oh my God, that's what it's those you can't make
Oh,
that.
no, you can't. How could you have known that? That's
There's
mind-bending.
obviously there's not even a product that's a bagel scooper. People
No,
just take a spoon and scoop it out.
that's
Um,
right. Oh
those are
my
the
goodness.
kind of things that can make people believe.
Yeah,
And um, at one time, it was like, our ego was involved in the beginning, oh, I got a really good one. And now they just want to show people, give them what they need so that they can believe and trust that they are around them,
oh,
even if they can't feel them or see them, because depending on their vibration, they just may not be ready or open enough to feel
yeah,
it.
that's right. Like you said, grief is a very heavy frequency. So
So heavy.
if you like your analogy with the radio is if they're communicating through the AM and you're an FM,
Absolutely.
you're not gonna
All you
cross
hear is
paths.
static. You got to just get it perfect.
Yeah,
Um, there's so many people who everyone hears about, spirit gives you signs and everything.
yeah,
And there's so
yeah.
many people who, especially right after, um, they say, I haven't gotten any signs, I don't feel anything. And so I go in, I said, well, um, I said, there's some butterflies following you around. And she goes, well, there were some butterflies behind me on a walk I did with my husband a few days ago. She goes, but I just thought it was butterfly migration season, like mating season. I said, you make up some cockamamie thing that you've overlooked a beautiful message
Mhm.
from your son. And and because you don't trust and because you don't believe yet, you
Mhm.
can't receive it.
Yeah, because
And
sometimes they're
that's
very
what's
subtle.
sad. And then you have to go through the grief that you get. There's no shortcuts. And what I try to do with lightness and things are um, have have them just think about pivoting from the the heartache when they start thinking about their child and just consciously pivot to a scene where they made them laugh or they saw a movie together and they just all she can think about is how he was laughing so hard he spit all the popcorn out of his mouth. And I always tell people, listen, you can look at a picture right now of you and your son, um, and it'll just make you cry. I said, I promise you, down the line, you're going to look at that picture, and all you're going to notice is that goofy grin and the little devil's thing he put above you, and you're going to laugh your butt off. I said, it's
Mhm.
the same picture. It's how you look at it, it's how you perceive it. And if you can, look at it with the love, because the only thing stronger than grief is love.
Mhm.
And nobody wants to hear that they can just love their way out of grief, but that's basically what it's
Yeah.
going to take for you to realize that you were given a gift for however long it was, and be have just have gratitude for that.
That's
And the
beautiful.
memories are there, and I promise you your son is around you, and they're throwing things at you to get your attention, but
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
notice. We don't
And
notice.
that gratitude and love is really what we want on the other side of grief. So it's beautiful. I see it too as you're allowing these people to also get closure. It's closure that you don't necessarily have in those moments, right? It could be a sudden,
Well,
you
people
know,
grieving, yeah,
yeah,
they're guilty. They feel guilty for
yeah,
laughing. When
yeah,
their loved one, you know how parents always say, I'd cut my left arm off for my kid, okay?
yeah,
Your children do not want your appendages, I promise you. All they want is for you to be happy and joyful.
yeah.
That's it. They want you to go on with your life. They're loving you and throwing so much love towards you, and they just want to connect. They want you to know they're around. And they'll do
Mhm.
everything they can um, to to make you know they're around. Like people will say, "Well, I I heard my son's favorite song, Shark, 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 or whatever the hell it is." And and what is that song?
Yeah, it's a baby shark. Yeah, there's the baby shark and mama shark. And
And I say, if you hear a song from your loved one, no matter what age or who they are, it could be grandma, and you hear a Sinatra song that you knew she loved, go Google the lyrics. There's a message there for you. You have to just read the lyrics. You'll know that she knows. They know what's happening in our life. They know what we're doing, our problems, and they always want to be there to help. And they
yeah.
can, like they put into my head. Everybody on earth has the ability to do this.
Mhm.
If you got a soul, that's all you need in your little toolkit, okay? You don't need anything else. You just need that soul and to learn how to connect with it and
Yeah,
and and just
that
know.
that's what I wanted to bring up because you do also help people to be able to connect on their own. So can you elaborate on that a little bit,
Well,
just to give
sure.
people?
At the
Yeah.
end of one of my sessions, I do a little I do a little not like experiment, but I do a little scene with them, and I'll
Mhm.
say, I'm going to count to three, and then I want you to tell me the very first item that comes into your head. One, two, three, boom. What is it? And a host said, an elephant. And then she said, that's stupid. Where am I going to see an elephant? You know what I mean? And it's not for you to go to the zoo and see it. That doesn't
No.
count. It's going to be where you do not expect it in a way you don't expect it because your son put that in my head. Actually, it was her
Mhm.
father, her spirit father. We had done a reading. Um, and so I said, it could be a license plate in front of you in the car in front of you that says elephant. It could be anything. Okay. Anyway, 2 days later, she emails me and says, you are not going to believe this. I get a lot of emails that say, you are not going to believe this.
I can
She said,
imagine.
I took my son to mini golf to a new place, and look
Oh,
what the hole was.
it's huge
A
elephant. Oh, wow.
giant elephant. You can't make this stuff.
You can't. I love
Um,
that they send you pictures too. I think
I
it's
tell them I
incredible.
want the picture. I just got one from a woman who's, like 30-year-old son died, and her husband were going to go to Mexico for a little trip, and he passed beforehand. But before that, she said, "Give me a good restaurant there," and he gave her one. So, um, when she, okay. So anyway,
I
so
love that.
I said, "Okay, one, two, three, boom. What is it?" She said, a baseball hat. Okay. And she thought, I don't know why I said that. Anyway, she went to Mexico and she went to the restaurant, and the entire ceiling was covered in baseball hats.
Oh my goodness. I've got goosebumps again.
Me too. We're
Wow.
goosebumping together.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness. There's a good, wow. That is, again, and I love that you say that every time they blur out a word and say, that makes no sense. Why would I say that? And
They
there it
don't even
is.
know why they're saying it. It's just
Yeah.
it's supposed to, and this one is I'll just do this one.
Yeah.
A woman who lost her husband said, uh, a wrench. He loved to fix cars. I said, okay, you can't go in the garage and pull out a wrench and say, I got my sign. It's not going to be where you understand it. So she sent me a picture, because her husband's really cute, and she sent me a picture. And on the picture, it had like a Google band going across it, with the Google, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
she said, blow up the Google band. You're not going to believe this. In the Google G, there was a wrench.
Oh, ranch. Oh my goodness.
Mic
That
drop.
is,
Not for me, but for spirit. Okay.
yeah. And what are the odds of the Google team deciding to put a wrench in their G because
I've
they
never
they
seen them.
changed
Most people they don't do anything to obscure the
no.
logo.
No, they change it every day as well. So it's the fact that she
Did they? Do they put something in there every day?
sometimes they'll put, but not just in the G, they usually do like the full Google. There'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
little pictures. Let's say St. Patrick's Day just passed. There would be little clovers or little leprechauns
Right.
running
Well,
across with
anyway,
the,
this
but you had the
day
wrench on the G.
was
That's
the wrench.
incredible. Oh, wow.
So what it does, and I tell the people, you better email me and let me know you found it.
Yes.
So, and send me a picture. Um, And what it does, I said, you just connected with your husband. Okay. He gave you a message. You got it.
Yeah.
It happened because he knew exactly where you were going to be and when you would be there to get it.
And that's where that frequency connection happens, right? That's when you know
Absolutely.
you are
Right.
absolutely connected to the spirit at that point.
Because
Oh,
I also think now that you mention that, when I'm doing this, I don't think people are having a negative thought when they're, I'm like, I'm scaring them. It's like, okay, no, no, no.
yeah.
If they're feeling grief or sadness, it's for a second, they're open.
Yes,
And I
exactly.
said, he's proven to you that he's around you, and
Yeah.
he's proven to you that he can put things in your head.
Yeah.
And you can do this every week to reassure yourself that he's still around you. How you don't need anything for that. You don't need a class. You don't need anything. Okay. All you need
Yeah.
to do is do it, and you can bring your family in on it. If you have some teenage kids or young kids, say, okay, tonight you're going to pick what grandpa wants to show us. Okay.
Right.
And it will just bring everybody together and a lot of laughter. That's all they
Yes.
want is for everyone to laugh and have joy.
And it's that connection with your family as well. I love that. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Such beautiful work. And I know the listeners, whoever's listening right now, is seeing a whole other side of mediumship that we're not seeing or we're not shown, So I think that's wonderful. I really do appreciate you sharing all that because you've given us gold. You've given us
Well,
golden nuggets
a
today.
golden nugget. People have to, if you've never been to a medium, um, people have misconceptions
Yeah,
that, that they're there to test us, or we're here to serve them. And if they give us a question, we have to, you know what I mean? That's not what it's about. All we
that's it.
can do is put our love out there, and they're putting their love. for you out there,
Yeah.
and they're going to give you what you need. Now, sometimes somebody wants to test you, and it's oh, I had a woman who was crying, and she said, "My husband, I haven't felt him in 6 months." Okay, and
Mm.
she said, "I bet he has another woman up there." Okay, and she was really going off the rails.
Oh,
All right, and she was suffering. And I said, "Don't. Are you going to test me?" She always does. She goes, "Well, if he really has been here, he will tell me what TV show I binged over the pandemic." And I'm
mm.
thinking to myself, I'm paralyzed in fear, like that I'm on the spot. And her husband, who was there, he said, it was Outlander. It was Outlander. She
Oh,
goes,
wow.
"You don't know how good you just made me feel to know that I don't have to feel him to have him there, that
Mm,
he is there and knows what I'm thinking and how I love him and everything else. And it doesn't have to be signs every day because
mhm.
they don't like to be pushed either. Okay. That can push them away, like, okay, I need to see a strawberry in the next 10 minutes. It's not going to happen. Okay. They're
Yeah.
not working for us.
That's right. And like you said, it's just when we need it, right? It's not, yeah,
When,
we don't want to
yes.
enter. Yes. Oh, I love that. I could I could keep talking to you all night, but if anybody wants to know more about the work that you do or maybe work with you, what is the best way to get a hold
Just
of
go
you or
on my website,
yeah,
bannermedium.com, and
excellent.
you can read about me. You can read a lot of testimonials. I have some little clips at the end, little video clips. I also, on the main page, I have 3 links to TikTok or Facebook or Instagram with little 20, 30-second um, little gold nuggets that happen in in the reading so that you could understand, if that's something that you feel like you'd like to do. And you can also book on there. Um,
Excellent. I'll be sure to put that information in the description box so whoever is listening to the
right.
episode can go down and find the link there so that they can connect with you. I just appreciate. There's so much more I want, but before we
You
wrap
can
up,
have me back again
oh,
if you need me.
anytime. You're more than welcome. We could definitely do another one. There's so much more we could talk about, but I will definitely, we'll have to do this again. But before we wrap up, I did warn you, not warn you, but I did tell you about the question I ask all my guests at the end. And so can't wait to hear what you're going to say. But
Well,
what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be me.
Yes, I love
I
that.
really do.
I
I
love
love what I do. I'm I'm grown up and I just want to keep doing this, and I can. My mother lived to 104. I'm going to be the oldest medium in the world. And I did find out at the end of her life at 104, I told her I was a medium now and I didn't want to have her go over the edge, which is where she really wanted to go.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, I'm a medium now. I'm talking to Dad. I didn't know how you take it. She said, your grandmother used to drag me around to tea leaf readers and psychics when I was a kid. She had her own juju. People were coming to her for advice. So I said,
Okay.
you're 104. When were you going to tell me? I mean, they
Yeah.
didn't talk about it then.
No, they just certainly didn't know. So it's a lineage that you have there. It's just going. I love that. Is there anything else you'd like to share, or if you have anything that's popping up that you'd like to share to close up the episode?
Well, there's a woman sort of hanging around you, and um she's more on the slender side, but she's just standing around and she's sort of eyeing you and looking very judgy, not in a bad way, but just like, what do she's just very interested. Um, and she had like gray hair, sort of straight, um, but short. Does this remind you of anybody?
Hmm. Is she like an older lady or a
Yes,
younger?
she's an older lady. She looks like she's probably like, late 60s or 70s. They can come at any age.
Yeah. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Doesn't always have to
Um,
be a
yeah,
family member, but you'll think
the,
about it. You'll let me know
I'm
because
sure it'll come and say,
she's
okay, so
very interesting. She's very interested in you. It's like she wants
really,
to um, I think it's a good, I feel like it's in a good way, but she's not one to give a lot of compliments, if that gives you a
oh,
clue.
okay.
Okay. She's somebody who
That's
would
going to
keep
be
it
on my
in.
side of the family, Leah.
Does that
I'm
sound
sure.
like your side of the family?
Yeah, I'll check. I can't think of anybody at the point, but I'm sure it'll come up.
It'll come
It'll
up.
come up
Just
somehow.
email me.
I
Yeah,
will definitely. You will say you can't. You won't believe what just happened.
exactly.
That's
And I think she
interesting.
was wearing like a big ring on on her right hand, like a big
Yeah,
stone. Doesn't have to be diamond or anything. Just like I
yeah.
don't know, like a blue stone or something. Anyway, just to give they like to
I
throw little
think.
things in.
I think yeah, it's just a slender one I'm wearing, but uh, yeah, I think I may know. But I'm gonna wait and see if I get some more signs, and I will let you know. And by the time this airs, if it did come up, I'll add it to it. By the way, I'll show a picture or something. But I
Yeah,
think I
and
have an
she's
idea.
not skinny, but
Yeah,
she's not chunky.
just
Okay,
no.
she's slender to normal. Um, but
I think I know. But
she was a judgy one, but she could give you that stink eye look. You know what I mean? If
okay, yeah, okay. I think I have, but I'm not gonna say anything until I know 100%. But I'm
ask
pretty
your
sure
mother or something, I'm
I
getting
will.
goosebumps. So
Me
whoever you think
too.
it is
So
whoever it is.
I think it's who it is, but I'm gonna put it out there that I get something within the over the weekend or something if I can find
Well, what did
something.
you come up with for your thing? One, two, three. Whoever you are, give her something in her mind. What did you come up with?
Well,
Just
to me
what
it was the ring. It was like some kind of jewelry that's gonna come up. So I'm gonna see. Yeah, there
was
was
that? Did you come up with that before when I asked?
no,
No, just right now.
just right now. But when you said a ring, and I don't know.
It
That's what
clicked with you in some
it
way.
it clicked with me, and I still don't know which one, but something will come up. So I will
Okay.
let you know for sure. This is fun. I'm gonna
And you
see.
can tag it on to the
As you
end, you know.
saw in this episode, I was a little baffled. I was not expecting this at all. It wasn't planned. I didn't ask for her to do a reading on me. She volunteered it, and I just enjoyed it so much. So you can see my reaction. I'm not sure how to react. I'm not sure how to take it. But what really caught me off guard was that she was talking about people from my past, from my childhood, which a lot of my childhood I've forgotten about. And nobody knows about the people from my childhood except for the people from my childhood. So I've been out of that environment for so long that nobody in my immediate environment now knows about anything or about anyone from there except the people that were there. So I know I'm rambling on, but I wanted to explain that there was no way I never talk about people that were part of my environment when I was growing up, aside from some family members. So when she first talked about this lady that had the very straight face, I first thought that maybe it was from my in-laws because I grew up with my in-laws more than I grew up with my childhood environment. And so I was trying to think, and I didn't want to ask flat out, what background this person was from, because I didn't want to feed it into any information. But when she's talked about the judgy look, the straight face, it something clicked. I was originally thinking it was my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. She wasn't very judged, a very loving woman, but she did have that generation always looked so serious. And she always looked a little judgy. uh, what was interesting, and you're not seeing it in this episode, is once we stopped recording, Barbara continued giving me information. We stayed on the call a while after we were done recording. So she continued to give me some information when we were off camera or off the recording. We were still on the call. And she said, if you're not too sure who it is, she's showing me a cigarette. And I knew right away who it was. I grew up with chain smokers, both in my family and my created family. And so I knew I had to restart this a few times because I get choked up when I try to explain this. But I knew then that it was the woman that used to take care of us when my mom was working. My mom worked a lot. And so when she was taking care of me, my sister, always chain smoking, very, very funny woman with great sarcasm. But even when she cracked a joke, she wouldn't crack a smile. So when she said that she was just kind of hovering, looking at what I do, very interested, I could actually see her. But I still wasn't convinced. And Barbara mentions that in the episode that sometimes your people that she works with kind of question, I would say, well, it could have been anybody. Everybody smoked back in the day. So like I said in the recorded piece is I'll wait a couple of days to see if something comes up. And it did over the weekend because we recorded this towards the end of the week. And over the weekend when I was doing my routine cleaning up the house, and I actually started smelling her. And it wasn't like it was just a whiff, it felt like I smelled like her. And so I just knew that. And I actually haven't told Barbara yet. So, Barbara, if you're watching to the end, this is what happened. Uh, this is like our second mother, uh, always smoking. This woman played a really important part in my life and my sister's life because she was there when I think it must have been the most chaotic. And she was always there to support us and encouraging us to be more than what people expected us to be. And so for Barbara to say or mention that this woman is showing up around me right now at this particular moment is confirming quite a bit for me. And so I'm blown away by this whole experience. It's not the first time I've had experiences with mediums. I am the type of person who's open to all sorts of different points of views, and I wasn't expecting it to come up so naturally with her. And so if you haven't lived anything, even if you're very skeptical about the whole thing, I do invite you, you have to experience it at least once with somebody who is a true mediumship. You don't want to be working with a circus act. But my experience with Barbara was very natural, very organic. Like I said, we hadn't planned this. She just volunteered it. And it was unbelievable. So that's my story with this episode, and I'm going to bring you back to the end of it now. I will, and I'll if I have a picture or whatever it is that shows up,
Right.
I'll make sure to show it and I'll send it to you as well. So I
Okay.
really do. Thank you for doing that. That was a beautiful gift. Thank you for that. And I'll be sure to put all of your information in the description box so that everybody can contact you if they have any questions
Thank
or if they
you.
want to work with you.
Yeah, and
Uh,
follow me on Instagram. It's really a lot
Absolutely.
of fun.
Yeah, and for the listeners, I tell you, for the last 10 minutes or so, I am like just full on goosebumps. It's such a beautiful, but not in a bad way. It's like just a beautiful connection. So, Barbara, just wonderful. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you for
your
having
beautiful
me.
work. And I really
Okay.
do. And we're definitely going to have to do this again for sure.
Maybe I'll read some of your audience or something
Yeah,
if they
that
if,
would be fun to do as well if they want to. I'd love that. Thank you. Thank you
okay.
again. And for everybody watching, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to whichever channel you're listening in or watching from. Don't forget to go and follow Barbara as well. And until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll talk soon.